You're sitting there listening or watching this episode and feeling that you are meant for so much more than being in a cubicle day in and day out, overworked and unfulfilled. I'm all too familiar with that feeling because I was there too, and so was my guest for this episode. And we're here to tell you that it's not too late to take a leap of faith and go for what you want, whether it is to launch your own business or to start making content. My guest is Rich Cardona. Rich walked away from his corporate job in one of the biggest companies in the world with no plan but to follow his own curiosity. He started making content, connected with mentors and cool people in the industry like Gary Vee, and launched his successful business in his late 30s. You will love his story. He has incredible insights into entrepreneurship, building a business with integrity and passion, and having healthy habits and discipline. He's also an incredible human, and he was very generous with his time. So I hope you enjoy this interview. Pod Sounds Cool presents Content Jefe, the podcast that helps online business owners make better content and more money. Let's jefe up. We have so many things in common. First, I discovered that your family is from Colombia and I'm Colombian.
Yes.
Also, we are working in the same industry because we're teaching people how to make content. And also, I'm pretty sure we follow the same people, that we had the same mentors or some of them. And also, something that caught my attention, and that's the whole reason you're here, is because you are a family man and you're running a business while having 2 daughters and running your business from home and all that.
Yes.
My question to you, as I was doing research for this interview and looking at, Facebook and listening to some interviews, that's another thing that we have in common is that you got your MBA and I went to law school, so I have a doctorate in law.
Dang, I didn't know
that. Yeah, girl, wanted to be a lawyer.
Wow. So did I. We had that in common. I wanted to, but you actually went through with the education. I did not.
Yeah. So we had that in common. And I remember when I decided to walk away from that, and you did too, that I was full of insecurities. I carry a lot of shame. I was thinking like what my family is going to think about this decision that I'm about to make, how it's going to impact them financially, what my colleagues are going to think, what are the consequences of this big decision that I'm about to take. Did you went through any of that at all?
All of it. Yeah, all of it. And I think I was recounting this very recently. So just quick background, like Gary Vee is the first person whose content I ever consumed that made me feel like you should and stop at nothing to pursue the life that you want and to get out of the life that you don't want. And I was working at Amazon at the time, and I started watching his content and started kind of like game planning my exit strategy. And I was doing good work, but I was also I was being a terrible husband. I had she's 18 months, but I was not having the influence I wanted to on my first daughter and all this other stuff. So I kind of worked myself out of that job, put myself in a position where I was taking a lot of risks, almost to the point where I was probably going to get fired. And I will tell you this, when I resigned before they could eventually fire me, it was like the most massive amount of relief. It's kind of indescribable. Mm-hmm. Now, everything that you're saying was secondary to that. Mm-hmm. It's like I needed to think about what my family would think. I needed to think about what my friends would think a little bit, but the relief outweighed the uncertainty so much more. And I think, especially talking to someone who's got a doctorate, you're capable of things. You have a skill set. You can thrive. You can do. And if action alleviates all anxiety. So I was just like, okay, I just need to get to work. I didn't know what work was. I had no idea, but I knew that, for a short time, we were going to move in with my wife's parents with my daughter and my dog. And I was like, I'm going to figure this stuff out. And that decompression really leveled me. And then I think you might have had the same experience where you don't really have time to think about all those things that you mentioned because it's like, you got to do something.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
have
it's
a
like,
family to feed.
yeah, yeah. So it's like you just have you're just thinking immediately of like, what do I need to do? Because what I can't do is nothing. That's
Hmm.
your family did not sign up for that,
Hmm.
and coming from your background and me coming from a military background, like that's not what I signed up for either. So yes, I went through it, but at the same time, I was happily naive. I was so relieved. That's all that mattered.
Like looking back, would you change how you did things, or if somebody's thinking about taking that leap of faith and like moving on from that crappy job that they don't like, or the getting a second chance because they thought they had all these expectations and things that they were going to achieve with their degree, their
Mhm.
professional success, and they're like ready to do that. Like, what would you recommend, or what would have you done differently?
It's I'm gonna be just really honest with you, Veronica. Like I could go back and forth on this answer, but my gut always says I would do nothing different. It's just like burn the boats mentality. Like do not give yourself option A, B, and C. I think the more security you have, the less hungry you'll be to actually like do the things you need to do in order to kind of get going in the direction you're supposed to head. And that's going to look different. Like you might be in this direction for 6 months and then this one for 6 months and thought, oh, I got this figured out. I'm going to do video. And then next thing you know, 14 months later, you're like, this ain't it. So it's like, if you have the mentality that there's always kind of a backup plan, I actually think that has a potential to dissipate your work ethic. On the flip side of that, we're talking about whether you're single or a family, like you have a lifestyle, you have food and rent and or a mortgage or all these things. And it's like, okay, what are you going to do about all those things if you just get up and leave? I mean, yeah, I get it. I know plenty of people who have side hustles that they've wanted to become their full-time hustle, but they've still been doing it for quite a while. Like that, I don't want to say it's a myth, but
Hmm.
it's like I'm gonna give you such a ridiculous example right now. It's like the dude, the woman who's dating a married man, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna leave."
Oh yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
worry, like don't worry, like just in a couple more years. It's the same thing. It's like you're never
Hmm.
gonna have all the attention on the one thing because you're trying to balance so many things. Like, in my opinion, like you're almost better off just like if you're not just rid yourself of what you don't want to be doing altogether. And that way you could focus 100% of attention. Now, there's another Gary Vee kind of deal is like you need to be willing to downsize. You need to be willing to sell some of the stuff. You need to be willing to whatever. The only thing I would say to recommend to like just stay at the job is like at least get savings and just be like, okay, what are my normal expenses? Okay, I have 6 months to work something out or have a backup plan. Like I'll live with family, something along those lines. But I think as long as you're splitting attention, you're going to take the road's going to be way, way longer.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I agree with that so much. And also, when you mentioned the feeling that you had when you walked away from Amazon, is the same feeling I had when I walked away. I was working for American Express for the
Mhm.
fraud protection department. And it doesn't like it sounds glamorous.
Mhm.
I was miserable. I
Yeah.
was working in a cubicle in this rundown building
Dang.
that pretty sure we shouldn't, that was not safe for us to be in that building.
Wow.
And we was just like new attorneys working there, and I just couldn't do it anymore. Like I would get sick every morning just to think that I was going to have to spend the
Yes.
next hours in that place.
100%. A
And
hundred.
and yeah, and I also agree with you when you say like you just have to do it,
Mm.
because we just get into this pickles that like, okay, I have it, because I took my time to make the decision, and I was just getting deeper and deeper and deeper into how am I going to do this? It's not going to work. I have to dedicate my full time to this.
Yeah.
And then you start resenting your job even more.
Totally.
because you're not happy and you're ready to move on. Um, I think there are a lot of people out there in our situation, and I think that's why I wanted to have you here and ask all these questions.
Yeah.
Did you find full support from your wife when you did it, or did you find some resistance?
Such a great question. And I think this is the intangible that is not discussed enough because you, Veronica, or me, Rich, might be like, I cannot go back to that place.
Mhm,
Like I cannot think of doing another holiday there. I cannot think of them moving me to another shift. I cannot think of whatever. And there's also the party that's like I can't think of not having the money. But that's just you. When it comes to them, I think the intangible is, do they have your support or are they questioning you? Or are they bringing valid concerns? And of course, they're going to have valid concerns. But my opinion, just my opinion, is that that person should be supportive and they're probably going to recognize that you've been miserable for a while and they'd love to see the person they know come back. And that's what happened in my situation. She's just like, we were going to actually get relocated to Portland and I was super pumped about it in a way because there was a Marine Corps, one of my commanding officers from the Marine Corps was actually in charge of a facility out there. He's like, come on out. I'm like, okay, maybe this will change things. And you know what? Like it didn't work out and it might have been for a good reason, but either way, she's just like, I was just having so much difficulty. And she goes, I think this is it. And that literally is what propelled me to like kind of fast track like my peace out time because I knew I had her support. The fact that she even recommended we could live with her parents who, you know, I got along with, but like no grown man wants to move in with their in-laws, especially with their dog and, you know, their daughter in your in-laws basement. I had an MBA, you have a doctorate. I'm a retired Marine. You know, I was working at one of the most well-known companies on earth and I was like, and she's okay with that. That's the only okay I needed. That's the only okay I needed. So here's what I would say. If there's you don't have the support that you want, number one, you definitely have to be rational about that and understand that they're completely legitimate concerns and valid. Like you can't be so desperate to get out that you actually are not empathetic to what's important to them. Now, if it's like lifestyle things and this person's like, well, what about our vacations or what about the car or what about this? And you're over that stuff, then you might have got to a point where your paths or your goals are actually diverging and you just didn't recognize it. So I think that's important to know as well. But I think overall, that support should just be there. And this is funny. We haven't talked before, but like my wife now has a business. So there's two entrepreneurs living in this house, and I'm watching her go through it, and it doesn't. And look, like, no matter how much I try and help her, like she's trying to do it on her own. And it's like, okay, so like my support, as much as I thought it was support, the actual support I could give her is by not saying anything. But anyway, so I think that part is so big, but her support is all I needed. Parent support, I could care less. I will tell you right now, my dad's like, "What are you doing? Like,
Mhm,
what are you gonna do?
mhm.
Like, this is a hobby." Because I started vlogging a little bit. My mom was just like, "You're gonna do what?" And I just so didn't care. I'm like, I'm a grown man, so
Yeah.
you know,
Your
it's
Colombian parents.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, my mom was the same. My mom, oh, wait a minute. So you went to school for how many
yeah,
years? And then you were walking away from that. And then, so I went to the US to watch your kids while you were
yep,
studying for the
yep,
bar exam. And all of that effort, I'm like, Mom, just you're thinking about you. What about me?
yeah, yeah. It's
It's my life.
so true though. I could understand us, but it's that's so hard because like I think this is how do I articulate this? People are willing to sacrifice you for you if they agree with what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if not, it's like, well, like I'm dude, you can count on me for a lot of things. Do not count on me to help you move because I don't like helping people move. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people, it's different. And I mean, of course, you expect like unconditional love when it comes to that kind of thing. But yeah, I respect her opinion on that. And I also respect yours. Like, no, man, this ain't it.
hmm
So I'm with you.
That That's amazing. I think that that it takes a lot of courage just to know for a certainty that you are going to embark on this journey, like no matter what. And
Hmm.
you just have so much faith in it.
Hmm.
And also is the feeling that like, I don't want to go back to that and I don't care. Like
Yes.
I'm going to make it work because that I'm not going back to that. So I'm going to get resourceful. I'm going to get scrappy. I'm
Yes.
going to get to work because that's not for me.
So I was listening to Ed Milet and Alex Hormozy this morning, and I was like just blown away. And I'm like, okay. And Alex said something. He goes, "I've always have found myself happiest in the pursuit, not in the destination."
Mhm.
And when you're talking about being scrappy and getting resourceful, like at the time, it doesn't feel like it, but that's the best time.
I
Like,
know.
it's like you can't get enough of it. You don't
Hmm.
realize it. You're just relentless and you're focused and you're like, dude, you got the blinders on. Like, it's the
Hmm.
best time. That's when you really find out who you are. And I agree with that. It's like happiness is in the pursuit.
It's in the pursuit, yeah. And I feel like, yeah, you don't see it at the beginning, but then you realize it later down the road. And then
Hmm.
when you realize it is like when you know that you are becoming an entrepreneur because you're like, wait a minute, like everything is going well. Like maybe I should get on another project. Maybe like, you just have that
Hmm.
itch. You just have you like the challenge,
Yes.
the ups and downs. The okay, like roll up your sleeves and see. Let's what are we gonna do here?
Yeah.
I listened to an episode. Um, I think. Do you listen to the Diary of a CEO?
Oh yeah.
So he interviewed the CEO and owner of Airbnb, and the same, like the thrill for him is the struggle. And
Hmm.
when he went through the pandemic, when Airbnb went through the pandemic, that was the highlight of his career as an entrepreneur and how he was able to rescue his company.
Hmm.
And so, and there's this like it's Alex Hormozzi's,
Hmm.
the Hormozzis, and
Hmm.
all of the like great entrepreneurs that we see, they are they thrive in the struggle. And
Yes.
I think that's one of the qualities that you develop as an entrepreneur that you don't develop by working for somebody else, staying at a job that you don't like.
Yeah. Can I add one thing? I think it's really, really important for listeners or anyone who watches is like we're talking kind of like the early stages of entrepreneurship, but I think once you've been in it for a little while, something I'd love to help you realize before you realize it is that like there's no finish lines. Like there's literally like once you achieve something, I think it flees so fast. You're just like, what's next? I think
Mm-hmm.
if you're in it, if you're truly in it, that's something I would just be aware of in advance. Like you're never ever going to be satisfied. And that doesn't mean you need to scale. That doesn't, or it doesn't mean more followers or subs or rankings or whatever, but you're always going to have another goal. The thrills in the pursuit is what we mean. It's like, okay, cool. Like at some point you're like, this should have happened considering the amount of work I've put in or we've put in or whatever it may be. But then once you hit it, it's just like it's just fast. It's just like I think I was watching something Deion Sanders or no, I forget. It was a head coach of some team. It was a documentary, and as soon as they won the it was sorry, it was the Florida Gators, and it was called something about the swamp. It's great. And Urban Myers is coach of the Florida Gators. They just won the national championship. Everyone's in the locker room celebrating, and he's in his office calling recruits. He's already thinking of next year. Now that's
Mm-hmm.
maybe obsessive or whatever, and he couldn't be president in the moment, but you're always thinking of the next thing. And I just think like you will not be satisfied. And I just think it's really important for people to understand that like you'll have quick wins and whatever, but like you're going to spend a lot of your time down here. And that's where it really is.
So throughout your journey as an entrepreneur, has it ever been a time when you have felt there's no hope, things are not going to happen for me, I give up, like I can't keep doing this anymore, lump in my throat, why is this happening to me? Like have you had one of those?
every week.
I know. I'm describing myself. I just have one this morning.
Oh man, yeah. I pulled over. I swear to you, I pulled over like about 2 weeks ago, and I was like, "What the f am I doing right now?" And things were going well, Veronica, and it was like, but still, I'm like, "What is it? What is it supposed to look like in 5 years?" Okay, wait a second. Our margins are getting smaller. Or I don't know if this new person on the team's actually going to work out. Like they were great in the trial period, but now all of a sudden they're punting it. It's like, have I been neglecting the girls too much? It's like, am I
Mm,
working too much? But I
mm,
love to work. It's like all these conversations I have with myself is like, it just never goes away. And this is just like this like self-loathing, debilitating, schizophrenic moment that happens once in a while. And the way I cope with that, so to speak, is by realizing that those days are infrequent compared to the days where I get up, I'm like, let's freaking go. Right.
mhm,
Like there's so many more of those days. But if I would just say like if those days started to those opposite days started to like catch up in terms of like a balance, then I'd probably realize there's a problem. But you asked that question because you already know. Like the people around you, the people I saw you had Dylan on recently, like that dude has the same thing. Alex Hormozy has the same thing. Attorney, Ed Milet, like all those people, everyone has that. And that's just like, that's actually so comforting for me to know because we all have insecurities because this is completely unpredictable. Like you can't win. That's why I'm saying we don't rest on the victories very often because like you can't win. And when you're winning is when you're supposed to put your foot on the gas the most, which is completely counterintuitive. And I'm trying to get better about that. But yeah, of course, like, but I'll tell you what, it beats that uncertainty, beats the certainty of staying at a place that I know I don't want to be at. 100 times out of 100, I'll take it. Let me, and I'll, sorry, I'll we get to the next question in a second, but I literally am like, if this falls apart, I know what car I'm going to get and I'm going to Uber my face off and I'm just going to do like, you know what I mean? I will figure it out. But like, I've imagined myself having to Uber and I'll be like, I'll just have to make sure I document that as part of the journey as well and put that on YouTube. Be like, yeah, man. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And yeah, when you were talking about your girls
Mhm.
and that, the feeling that sometimes you're not spending enough time with them, um, ooh, it hurts. Like it hurts. Like it makes me want to cry.
Yeah, me too.
Um, because as a parent, either whether you're working for you have your 9 to 5 or you are running your business from home and you get to see them, like there's always this lingering guilt that you have for not spending time with them.
Hmm.
um I feel like with entrepreneurship, we have a little bit of more of a leeway. We can take breaks and take him to, go get ice cream.
Hmm.
I saw that you did that the other day.
Yeah.
Um, so it hurts, and you have to find the balance. But at the same time, I like to lie to myself and say they're watching me building something big for them. They're watching me going through the ups and downs. Like they're watching mommy, with her laptop on the kitchen table trying to, make things work. Mommy is building a legacy. That's why I tell my kids, mommy is building a legacy. So
You're not lying.
it's just like as I get it. Like as a parent, I get it, and I think that there are a lot of people out there with kids, a lot of people out there with busy schedules, thinking that they don't want to disappoint their kids too. That's something that gets me out of bed very early in the morning. It's like,
Hmm.
I want to make them proud.
Hmm.
And if, somebody who's listening or watching this and you've been putting that in the back burner, you're not quite certain of how is it going to happen, or just have faith and trust that if you have that itch, if you're not happy where you are right now, you should take the leap of faith and do it, because you want to give your kids and your spouse and your family the best version of you.
Yeah.
And you're never going to find out like what's the best version of you if you don't make changes. I want you to do me a favor and follow and subscribe to the podcast. You play a very important part in helping us grow Content Jefe. We have a goal of becoming the #1 podcast for content creators and creative CEOs, and we cannot achieve this without your support. We want to improve and make the show better for you, and the best way to support us is by following or subscribing to the podcast. So, can I count on you? Back to the episode.
I mean, look, you're better off setting an example of you just fighting through it on a daily basis, doing what you want to do, than fighting through it, doing something you don't want to do. Because I believe like just the strain turns into stress. But like I think deeper, uglier stress than the stress of entrepreneurship. And I think it's like it's weird. I say the same thing as you do. It's like I'm trying to set the example. And my director of operations, Ellie, she always says to me, whenever we talk about the CEO of the company, she's like, "Oh, Allie, like my oldest daughter, she's like, she's a real CEO." You know what I mean? Like she always says that, and you know what? Like she says it, but she's not joking, because it's like a lot of the decisions will fall onto that. Like it's like it's a very delicate balance. You have to be able to pursue what you want to do, because if you're not strong enough mentally, you'll eventually probably resent your family or your kids because they were in the way, so to speak. So I don't think there's a balance. And here's how I look at it as far as a day, by the way. A normal day, the girls get up. I have about an hour with them before they go out to school. Most of that is trying to just get them ready, getting them to eat something and not complain and to brush their teeth and whatever.
And the hair.
Oh, I mean, all of it, right? And I mean, like, come on, man. So it's like, I never thought I'd be able to brush hair and do stuff, but I can now. And then they go to school. And then we get them from school, and they always want to be picked up early, of course. But like, I'm like, I can't. Whatever. So let's just assume, I don't know, we get home. Then we get like maybe 3 hours. A bunch of that includes a nighttime routine. A bunch of that includes playtime. And a bunch of that includes getting them to eat when they don't want to eat. And it's like, I kind of got like 4 hours, but I always am extremely thankful that they're at least learning and being well taken care of for those middle hours. And it allows me to do what I need to do. The problem is in how much of those 4 hours am I cutting short while I'm running back into the office to check an email or check a Slack message that I heard from the other room or whatever else, or to QA a video that one of my editors just made. It's like, how much of that? So I think we're whole humans now. And I think you're less of a whole human if you feel stuck at a place that you don't want to be at. And I mean, like, I cannot say it enough. Like that's worse. Like a whole human concept. Yeah. If I need to bring my daughter to the dentist, it's way easier than if I had to ask someone for time off. You know what I mean? Like all those little things, I try and just stack them up, and I'm like, okay, cool. You know what? Yeah, I will pick her up Friday. We're filming, and then I got this. But I could pick her up early around 2, and we could go get ice cream, whatever it may be. So the flexibility is, I think, the equalizer. But we're whole people, and I think you could gift yourself this life without the guilt, because you have more flexibility than a lot of other parents. And I think the leap of faith comes into play there. It's not necessarily a leap as much as it is a conscious decision to be the architect of your own life.
Yeah, I totally agree. And with that, so I listened to an interview that you were, I think it was Dylan's podcast.
Yeah.
And then you said something that totally, I'm like, yeah, this is so you. Because you said that personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion.
That's right.
And you were quoting somebody else who you had interviewed in the past. And, I've been following you like for almost a year, just watching your Instagram stories and the content that you post. And I can see like, you're awake pretty early. I consider myself an early riser, but you win. By 4 a.m., you're already at the gym, and then you read your scriptures, and then you have all this, routine that you do in the morning. And how much of that routine of waking up early, reading your scriptures,
Mhm.
keeping your mind and your body in shape has affected the success that you had in your business? How
Ah,
much of like sticking to a routine?
I will caveat that and say it's actually made me a more successful father, and that's why I do it. If I have that head start, then I'm going to be much more peaceful in the morning when my girls are being punks. I want to be in the best mental state possible. And if I move around some heavy stuff or I go on a run and I read the Bible and I read a little bit of a business book or whatever, I have a little bit of time to myself. I finally get the cup of coffee in. And I don't do that first, by the way. It's so funny. People are that I used to be immediate, but now I like wait 2.5 hours. They're like, you do what? I'm like, yeah. I was like, just hold off for a while. But I put myself in the absolute best mental state to be able to deal with them because you know how frustrating it could be, especially in the morning, man. Like, this time of year, like when it's dark and it's not light anymore, and they're like, no, it's still nighttime. I'm like, it ain't, get up. So,
Mm-hmm.
number one, I think it benefits me in that regard a lot. And I think that's really, 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 really important to just like send them off with love, help them get ready with love. And I always find a way to make them laugh when they're absolutely miserable in the morning and just want to watch something and sit on the couch. So that's one. On the business side, I think for me, I don't do it I don't do those things for clients, but there's a part of me that does do it if people want to see if I'm the real deal. You know what I mean? Because like we both do similar things, and some of the stuff is not inexpensive. And it's like, okay, like how serious does this person take it? How dialed in is this person on a day to day basis? So I'm like trying to demonstrate the whole concept. That doesn't mean you need to, show everything that you do, but it's like, I want these people to know I get up early. Like, why wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
I share it? So I'm like, okay. And I see my clients see creeping on my Instagram stories. I'm like, good. You know what I'm saying? Like, good. Like, this is who I am. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if your downloads, if you didn't get like a ton of downloads this month or whatever, like at least see this other stuff. Like it would be harder to imagine that I'm not trying as hard for you either. Like it wouldn't make sense if I was just trying hard for me and not trying hard for the business. That just wouldn't make sense. So that's kind of like almost a little bit of a safety net. But that routine, the routines I have matter a lot, and I believe I'm trying to be a little bit better, Veronica, but like I like rigidity. I just like it. I like predictability in occupation that is completely uncertain. Period. And it's just like it
Mm-hmm.
helps me. So that's how I look at it.
I love it. I enjoy watching your Instagram stories. I'm like, wow, one day I'm going to be up before him.
I never planned that, by the way. It just kind of happened little by little. But
um, what what keeps you up at night?
all of this. Um, I mean, do you guys ever feel like you're so committed? I'm looking at your YouTube channel right now, like 80,000 subs. You're right there. It's like, okay, 100's probably right around the corner. But are there ever times where you're like, dude, I'm just not feeling this?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to record. I don't want to teach
Mm-hmm.
people how to record. I don't want to be responsible for other people's success. I don't want to be responsible for other people's gainful employment. I don't want a client who's unhappy. I don't want a client who wants a refund. I don't want to have to restructure my agreement to protect us a little bit better. I don't want to make another bad hire. I don't want to pay my best person on my team more because we can't right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to lose these two top-notch clients who we've been working with forever and we've just destroyed it for them. Like they bring everything in house. When's our time coming?
Mm-hmm.
So those are all the things that keep me up at night. So I try, and I'm so not this dude. I mean, I'm pretty spiritual, but like I try and just think of like all the good things that transpired for over the day that are business or not business related. I'm like, cool, like it was sunny. Cool, I got to run. Cool, Allie wasn't late to school. Cool, blah, blah, like all those little things. So I try and remind myself those things at the end of the day. And I'm usually fried by the end of the day. So as I'm thinking of them, I'll fall asleep. but keeps me up at night. I would be shocked if some of those weren't the same thoughts that you guys have.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the way you just want to do better.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to
Yeah.
do better.
Yeah. I can tell you that those are the same feelings that we had. And those are the same feelings that Dylan expressed to me too, is
Hmm.
that, sometimes it's the uncertainty that, but that also gives you the dopamine, the thrill, the not knowing that, like, okay, like, where is it gonna, we lost a client and how are we gonna find a new one? Um, and then we add that to, the complexity of what we're doing, which is trying to raise a family
Yeah.
and have a business
Yep.
as a couple.
Yep.
So it's not like you get, it's the end of the day and then you get to meet with your significant other and, they can tell you about their day and then you can tell them about their day. It's just like one massive day. And that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why I'm making an effort to connect with people and
Yes.
to have people on my podcast and to be on other people's podcasts and
Hmm.
connect that way, because it can be very isolating. You focus on your clients and you focus on, day in and day out in your house running your business, and then it gets pretty isolating and lonely.
Totally.
So I think that's why I'm making an effort to do this and to connect. And what a better way than to have a podcast, and that's what your business is about.
Mm.
And I've seen, many people in the industry, and I just think that you are one of the people in the industry that I will blindly send referrals and
Hmm.
clients. And
Hmm.
it's because of that commitment that you show to your clients and that your professionalism. And um did you, if somebody is
I appreciate that,
going,
by the way. Thank
oh,
you.
it's because you're a Colombian.
Yeah.
If somebody is thinking, because I think you got into entrepreneurship the same way we got into entrepreneurship, which is, let's just make some content.
I
That's how
know.
we didn't have a business plan.
Totally.
We were just like, we follow our curiosity.
Yes. I say that all the time.
That's what we did, and that's why we're here. For somebody who's listening, who's like thinking that they want to start something, that they want to start making any type of content, like, what would you recommend? Let's say that, I have my full-time job, maybe I'm a parent, or maybe I'm not. What would you recommend them to do?
Yeah, I think that's really funny. I think entrepreneurship and content, in a way, is all about like shutting doors. Like, just imagine 100 open doors, and you just got to close as many of them as you can until you start like you kind of really start to get it narrowed down. I will be completely honest. Like, Instagram is like an animal for me. Like, I can never get my arms around it. Like, I try so many different things and whatever. I was killing it on LinkedIn a while ago. And then once I niched down to podcast content, it started sucking, but I got more DMs and more prospects. Like, so it's just like some really weird balance. But here's what I would say: shut as many doors as you can. I would think niching down is important, but I will tell you, yeah, I don't know if you know Chris Doe. He's my business coach. Like, he's always telling me, like, why are you not including like lessons you learned from the military? Like, why are you not including this? He's like, you've gone so one dimensional. He's like, your entire grid looks the same. And I'm like, dang. I'm like, I thought I was doing something really great, like trying to put out really great podcast content. But you know
Mm-hmm.
what? You and I know you know this, people really think they want to do podcasts, and then all of a sudden they think it's this easy button for stuff, and then they're just like, oh, wait a second. They're like, this is
Mm-hmm.
not easy at all. So anyway, close doors, and that means, what's your expertise? What do you think about? What do you think about? Like, that's probably what some of your content should be about. And I don't mean like thinking about the football game. I don't mean thinking about this. I mean, like, what are things, like 3 areas of your life, probably professionally, personally, and then just like in the middle, that matter the most, and just like start testing. That's what I would say. But the reason I say that, and you could be like, this dude doesn't know what he's talking about. there has to be a point where, you're actually making something that fulfills you. I'm not talking about Facebook content like, here's an update, loved Italy. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, traveling is really important to me because it resets me and I do my best work immediately after a vacation. Like, that's what I mean. Or the podcast content. It's like, okay, like I could give you tactical content all day long, or I can make content about how podcasting has now allowed me to network with some of the brightest minds in entrepreneurship. How some of these people would never say, yeah, Veronica, I'll give you 3 minutes of my time to prick my brain, even if you saw them at a keynote and paid for the VIP ticket, but they will come on your 45-minute podcast. Like,
Hmm.
those are some of the lessons. So it's like, look, like I can't be a slave to the algorithm, but I know what I want to make and I know what's helpful and useful. And I just try and stay in that direction. But there has to be, we're all whole people. We're not just Instagram people. We're not just podcast people. We're not just family people. We're not just athletic people, whatever it is. Like, we're whole people. And you just got to figure out how to package that pretty concisely into, like, a couple main buckets, and just experiment and start closing doors and start closing doors. Reach out to people like Veronica or Dylan, who will definitely help you dial it in a little bit.
Thank you. Um, yeah, I think you're right. I think experimentation, follow your curiosity.
Hmm.
I think you and I are here and we have the businesses that we have because we followed our curiosity
Totally.
and we were not afraid to experiment with things and like closing doors and open other doors and see what was our thing. And yeah, I think you mentioned that there are some times that you just don't want to make content.
Oh, yeah.
Um, how do you get over the I'm so nervous, or that what am I gonna say,
Yep.
or what people are not gonna care that,
Yep.
and I still tell that to myself like, "God, people are
For
not gonna
real.
care." So how do you get over that? How did you get over that?
So I have this, and I know we're kind of short for time, but I have a perfect answer for you. I have a client who we launched with them, and like it was kind of like scrambling to launch. Like, we were all off timeline. Like, they were moving, they had health issues and all this stuff. But like, they're like, if you just give me deadlines, like I'll make sure I get it done. And we did. We got deadlines, and we kind of had to rush. And the launch plan like wasn't followed to a T or anything like that. And then we're about 5 episodes in, and it just wasn't going like the way we wanted. And it's like, I kind of knew that was going to happen. And they were really self conscious that they just did a bad job. But what I did notice was every episode they were getting better and better. And I was trying to tell them, but like all they cared about was like, yeah, but you said it's not like where we need to be. And I'm like, well, I was like, I'm just saying, like, it's going to get better. It's just going to be a little bit slower than we thought. So they sent me a voice message 2 nights ago, and they're like, hey, I just wanted to share this with you. I was walking down the hallway of my office building and someone stopped me, and they said, hey, I didn't know you had a podcast, but I listened to it and watched it. And they're like, they said the person was in tears. They're like, I have the same exact thoughts and I've been through some of the same exact things. And just to even know that someone was out there putting that information out meant so much to me. So then my client, she's like, I was crying too, blah, 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 blah. She's like, it was a beautiful moment. I'm like, that's why you do it. Like, let's just call that person Sarah. Like, the girl, I was like, you just, now all you need to do is think about Sarah. Like, Sarah's literally like waiting for you to just continue to engage her, to help her, to add value to her life, to be relatable, to just solve problems. And I was like, now you know. I was like, because there's so many more people like that are waiting. And the only way they're going to find out is if you're actually putting something out. And I know that sounds so trivial and so simple and whatever, but at the end of the day, you and I both know like the likes on your post don't mean shit. Don't mean it's sorry, don't mean anything. But like, but if you get that DM or you get that specific comment or whatever, like, I've been following you, even if someone who's been watching for 2 years and hasn't said anything, they're like, I've been watching you for this long. Like, I just want to
Hmm.
say, like, I'm really like watching the journey. That's what makes it all count. Trust
Hmm.
me, trust me. So that's my answer is like, that's why you make it, because someone needs to hear it. There's 8 billion people in the world. Don't act like no one, like it's not going to serve anyone. It's going to serve somebody.
Hmm. Oh, that it moved me. Like it really did. Because yeah, you're so right. You're so right, and I feel like we just all want to be seen, and
Hmm.
we all want to matter. And I think that sometimes the best way to feel like we are being seen and we matter is by making other people feel like they are being seen and that
Yes.
they matter to
Yes.
us.
Yes.
And so that if you get in front of that camera, if you get in front of that microphone and you start recording and you share what you need to share, you know, what prompted you to start that, is it's a statement that shows that you care,
Yes.
that you care for now, that you care for that person who's listening, that you care for that person who's watching. And that's the ultimate. I'm showing you that you matter to me,
Hmm.
and I know that I matter to you. That's all there
I
is.
love that. You need to make content about that. That was very, very well said.
I know we're just getting so deepy. So my last question before I let you go
Mm.
is you being in the room with all of this great minds and people, and I'm always like in awe because that's something that I struggle with. Like just the fact that you told me yes to this interview,
Mm.
that it takes some, I don't know how to say it, but maybe I'm one of those that before I even ask, I'm like, they're going to say no.
Hmm.
So for those who are listening to this, who have the same insecurities, who are afraid to reach out, how did you do that? Like, how
Yeah.
did you have Gary Vee in your podcast?
Mm.
Like, how
Mm.
were you in the same room with Tom Billy? Like,
Yeah.
how did that happen?
Um, I don't I don't doubt it as much as I believe I've put myself in a good position for them to say yes. I know, you know, like a lot of people are going to say no. We get rejected every day. People unsubscribe from your email list every day. People
Hmm.
don't open your emails. Clients don't respond to your Slack messages. Like your wife, you could have made eggs for your wife and she's like, I'm not in the mood for eggs today. Like we all get rejected all the time. So it's like, when it comes to podcasting, it's like, oh, well, right? But like, if knowing that, it shouldn't hurt, right? Patrick Bet David's the one who, I mean, yeah, shit, I did a podcast with him. And he really went on a rant about that, and it was so educational. It's great, but like, if you know that, then it should make the ask easier because it's like, how much more can your feelings hurt if you know you're getting rejected on a daily basis all the time? So, that being said, it's like you try and just position yourself like, did I have a compelling subject line? Did I build relationships with people around them? Um, One thing I did for a lot of those people, those high level guests, like I added value to the people around them. I'd literally would go on LinkedIn and be like, who's some of their staff? I'd connect with their staff. So after the first interview I ever did with Gary Vee in person, I've done like four, like the first one, after that, I went back, didn't try to see him, didn't try and talk to him. I just wanted to make content for the people around him as a token of gratitude that even gave me that time. So like what happened next is like, cool, I could do it again next year. I was like, I didn't expect that, but little things like that. So it's like you have to ask yourself, like, have you put yourself in a position to get the yes? Like, have you really, really put yourself in a position to get the yes? And you'll know it before you do it. And the more doubt you have, it's because you don't have as many options and you probably didn't
Hmm.
do the work. I know we got to go, but like I have a very, very high level client and they get a lot of podcast requests and I screen them for him and I check them out and he's like, here's my download numbers they need to have. They need to be ranked this much in this category, or this is this, like pretty really strict criteria. But it doesn't mean that once in a while there's just like a really great different pitch that's not like, would love to invite you onto the podcast. Here's my audience. Da 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 da. Like, no, there's some other ones that I'm just like, they completely went they zagged when everyone zigged or whatever the saying is, and I'm like, dude, it catches your attention. Like all you need is just some luck. You need to be different and you need to know for sure that you've done everything you can to probably get the best chance at a yes. And again, like a no also can mean no for now. Like I hate that, but it's true. So that's what I would say. It's like you lose nothing by asking. And if you don't
Hmm.
ask, you don't get.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, I just wish that I could have you for another hour.
It's been great.
It's been amazing to connect with you. I was really looking forward to talk to you and to have a little bit of your time. What's next? How can people find you? Do you have any interesting projects that you're working on right now? Like, what are you up to?
Thank you. You're such a good podcast host for asking that. Everyone take note. But yes, I'm actually scaling back on content. I'm in Instagram. I literally delete Instagram from my phone like a bunch of mornings and then put it back on in the
Oh,
afternoon, just so I don't get
mm-hmm.
distracted. Because every time I
Oh,
think I'm
I'm gonna
over,
do that.
yeah, every time I think I'm over doom scrolling, I'm not. So I already have like 5 or 6 stories for today, but I don't have the app open, right. I don't have the app on. I don't have it right now, but I'll put it on later and I'll do that.
Mhm.
So Instagram and LinkedIn, and then I think I would say last thing we're doing. So we do full service podcast production, but I'm going to be super honest for your audience and for you, and we could have another conversation another time. But like a lot of people we work with, like they just don't make the content we need in order to help them. They their time management, like a million different reasons. So I think what we're looking at for 2024, besides a name change as well, is to be like the only way we can guarantee you're going to get great content, great sounding content, great looking content is like I'm going to fly out to you. We're going to spend one day together and we're going to record all this episodes. Then way it's all in my control, and you will never ever be able to give me an excuse on to why something didn't happen, and your investment will absolutely be met. So I think
Mhm.
that's what we're going to be doing and figure out how to make that $100 million offer.
I love that. I love that. I That's one of the things that working with clients and just helping them in that regard has been like a big issue for us, is just
Yes.
to make sure that that you get in on a workflow that they can
Yes.
implement, that they have everything set up, that they can just like keep going and keep making their content.
We'll have to
I'm
talk about this.
excited to see your new website, and I'm excited to see where you go next and who you
Likewise for you
meet
guys.
next.
Yes.
And I appreciate your time, and I'm just